You know, 2019's been a great year for movies, but there's also been some really bad ones. And the funny thing is every time I think I've seen the worst movie of 2019, I feel like 2019 keeps saying, "Hold my beer."
Raiders of the Lost.
Raiders is Groovinator from RaidersOfLostFlicks.com, and I just got back from seeing a movie that's so terrible that I don't think I can save it for my Friday show. Usually the way I do these things is I go out on Thursday nights and I see all the new premieres, and then I review those movies on my Friday live show. And so far that's worked out pretty well, but there's going to be full spoilers in this review, but I'm not going to release this video until later in the week, until after the live show. That way I don't spoil that, but I don't feel like I can encompass this in one live setting, so I have to process my thoughts. I just got back from seeing Black Christmas 2019, and so far, this is the worst movie I've seen of the year. The absolute worst. Now, full stop, I don't normally dip into the politics very often. In fact, I've kind of stopped talking about pop culture on my channel because I don't want to become an echo chamber for identity politics and anti-identity politics and just repeating the same beats and reading the same articles over and over again. I've gotten kind of tired of that formula, but when a movie is this in-your-face political, it deserves to be made fun of, all right? When your movie resorts to tearing down members of the opposite sex by making every single one of them look incompetent, evil, mustache-twirling villains or incompetent boobs, that's not progressive. That's misandry. And that I have a big fucking problem with. Full stop. This is absolute 100% feminist propaganda. Every man in this movie is either a creeper, a stalker, a mustache-twirling villain, or an incompetent boob. Now, I have problems with movies like this. I full stop, without getting too political, I'm not really a political guy. I believe in equality. And equality means that men and women, all sexes, all genders, all races can work together and coexist peacefully. When you have a movie like this that has to put down a member of the opposite sex, make everybody completely incompetent in order to prove a point or make a talking point, I have big problems with that because, I'm sorry, not all men are bad. And I am a man, and yes, I find this offensive. Completely offensive. I was sitting in the movie theater, I was completely ready to get up and walk out within the first 30 minutes of this movie. Dialogue as follows involve the patriarchy. This is dialogue in the movie, mind you. Patriarchy, misogyny, trolls, sexist, racist, people of color. This is the dialogue for the first 30-some minutes of the movie. The plot of this movie doesn't even show up until literally an hour in. I've never stared at my watch in a movie as many times as this one. I can't believe. I mean, look down at my watch. I'm like, God, only 2 minutes have passed. It's like time slowed down. It was so bad. I've never seen a movie go this out of its way to talk down to people in my entire life. This is like almost Triumph of the Will, Birth of a Nation level political. All right, it almost at some point forgets to be a horror movie, and at that point, I had to start laughing because I was so uncomfortable at how over the top and in your face this movie is with its feminist identity politics. I mean, insane over the top. Carrie Elwes shows up in this movie. Well, first of all, let's go through the cast. This is directed by Sofia Takal. I've seen another movie that she did. She did a segment on one of the VHS movies, and I've typically liked that series of movies quite a bit. I like anthology horror movies. I like horror movies. I'm not opposed to Christmas-themed horror movies. This was done by Blumhouse. Blumhouse has had some good movies that have come out. It actually advertises right on the poster. Producer of Get Out and Halloween 2018. Two movies that did very well, mind you, at the box office. Blumhouse has done some good things, and Blumhouse has done some really bad things. This might be the worst thing that I've seen Blumhouse do yet. To even have their name, for Universal to have its name attached to this, is an embarrassment. This stars Imogen Poots and Alyssa Shannon. And of course, I said Carrie Elwes is in this. Now, I just pretty much spoiled the entire movie, so I'm going to go ahead and go forward because it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist. And that's the other thing. I'm probably going to swear a lot during this video, too. I don't like doing ranty shit like this, but when it's this in your face and over the top, it deserves all the hatred it's getting. So, yeah, it doesn't take a rocket fucking scientist to tell that Carrie Elwes is the bad guy. It doesn't even try to have a twist. Most movies nowadays are like thriller or horror level, try to have some kind of a twist. All this movie involves is how these girls that are live in a frat house are stalked by a completely male-dominated sorority that uses supernatural magic. I'm not shitting you. They have this marble fucking statue that cries black magic, like liquid shit comes out of this fucking marble statue. Because the girls, they go to this fucking frat party at Christmas time. Imogen Poots wanders upstairs and she sees this fucking hazing ritual. Well, she thinks it's a hazing ritual. And you see these people in their fucking hoods, and they're painting this black shit on the fucking forehead of one of these guys, and he kind of turns around, looks like he's in a trance. It's wow. Yeah, this is the actual movie. So, anyways, she sees that. They're getting these creeper texts from all these people, and then, well, first of all, Imogen Poots is getting creeper texts from somebody that claims they're part of this sorority that, they may or may not want to impress. It's not really made abundantly clear. It's not terribly important to the script. But anyways, so they're getting all these creeper texts. Of course, one of the girls gets killed right at the very beginning, and that's the only good part of the entire movie. There's a pretty cool kill that involves a girl being thrown down in the snow. She's stabbed with an icicle, and she's going like that. She makes a fucking snow angel, and they drag her away. I don't know why I found that to be funny. It just, I don't know, something kind of tongue-in-cheek about it. I thought maybe this movie might be kind of fun and tongue-in-cheek. It's not. It's really not. The only thing that made me laugh about this movie is how in-your-face and over-the-top political it is. I kept asking myself, this is a horror movie, right? I did show up to see a horror movie done by Blumhouse. There were horror trailers before I started watching this, so I assumed it was a horror movie. From all I know, this movie's been remade a couple of times. Black Christmas came out in the 70s, and then it was remade again in 2006. I think that it had a sequel in there somewhere. I don't really know. I never saw those to begin with, so I didn't really have a lot of expectations going into it. I'm not a fan of Black Christmas because I've never seen it, so I don't really know. But, so yeah, this girl's getting these creeper texts. People are turning up missing. Throughout the entire movie, it's just dialogue after dialogue after dialogue of people talking about how bad men are. It's wow. So Alyssa Shannon, her character exists only to make everything into a statement or some kind of fucking political stance. And this is actual dialogue from the movie. She's like, if we don't say something or do something about this, nobody will. Her purpose is to get Carrie Elwes thrown out of the university because his fucking syllabus doesn't have any women or people of color in it. She's trying to get a petition signed to get him thrown out of the college. And then, of course, he's kind of like Scooby-Doo villain-esque, I know some of you are trying to get me thrown out of the college, but you won't. And that's not actual dialogue. I might have embellished that one a little bit, but it's very on the nose. Every man in this movie has a creeper stare or something insidious, or they're completely fucking incompetent. Every single character. Absolutely every single one of them. So anyways, things go on. At no point do these women ever just block the text. In fact, at one point, Imogen Poots goes to a security guard on campus because one of the people are missing, and she says, hey, well, look at these texts that I've been getting. And this guy just kind of looks at it and he's like, What do you want me to do about it? I'm a security guard. As if he has fucking anything better to do over Christmas weekend than sit there and eat this mayonnaise sandwich that he's making. They go to great lengths to show him squirting mayonnaise on this fucking bread. I don't know what they were trying to imply with that, but this movie is amazing in that it wastes absolutely no screen time whatsoever to not make something political or over the top or have some kind of hidden subtext about it. It's not even trying to be clever with it, as many of these kinds of movies are. And I've seen some pretty trashy movies this year. I saw Terminator Dark Fate. I'm kind of one of those guys, I try to ignore some of this shit. I don't like to make a big deal out of it. You know, it's like, okay, you want to have some kind of feminist message in here. As long as you make the movie entertaining, I don't care. It doesn't offend me, but this movie does nothing. I mean, nothing but offend it just hits the ground running with this shit. It is so fucking on the nose, constant, in your face. Man bad, man bad, man bad. It's almost like if you would have just put the text, man bad, up on cross, just call the movie Man Bad. It might have gotten its point across better. Jesus Christ, this fucking movie. Oh. So anyways, as the movie unfolds, okay, and these kills keep happening, of course, one of the girls has a boyfriend, and then they get in an argument, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, maybe now you'll throw one of the male characters a bone, you know? Not to be, you know, not to make a joke out of that, but it does come off that way. So the guy's like, you know, not every single guy is a rapist, you know that? And it's like, and so then they get in a fight, and the guy just up and fucking leaves them all in a fucking house by themselves, takes off. Of course, the sorority stalker killers come into the house. The girls try to kill one of them. He doesn't have any blood. Because magic, that's why. Okay? So, anyways, the boyfriend comes back, and he's like, where's my girlfriend? She's down in the basement. She's hurt, something like that. I don't remember. I started kind of losing track of what was going on because all of the kills and things that happen in this movie, all of the horror type sequences, it's that quick jumpy shit where you can't really tell what's going on. Close up on the camera. It's that kind of crap again, okay? You can't never tell what's going on. It uses the typical, you know, generic jump scare sound. Like that right there, I just did one. So yeah, that's to simulate horror because at some point the movie has to be like, oh shit, that's right, this is supposed to be a horror movie. Back to our political fucking propaganda messages. So, anyways, he comes back in the house in the most comically fucking bad fashion, picks up a hatchet that's just laying there for some reason. I will save my girlfriend, and then boom, fucking arrow right through the heart, you know? Like, he's yelling like this fucking, just this absolute incompetent boob. And I'm just like, wow, really? Okay.
Ah, fuck you.
Okay, so, and there's several of these guys that are killers. That's like the big twist, is that there's more than one of them. Like, you didn't fucking see that coming. Like, wow, there's more than one killer in this movie. It's so progressive. It's so clever. So, anyways, things happen. Imogen Poots gets captured at some point, all right? Dragged. She gets captured because one of the sisters rats her out. Like, she changes sides, you know? She's working with the fucking evil frat, you know? She changes sides. Next thing you know, she's blindfolded. She's in a chair. And here's all these big people standing around with their robes on. They got their fucking cricket bat or whatever with the fucking sorority logos on it and shit. And they're wearing their ceremonial robes, banging on the fucking floor. Carrie Elwes starts fucking monologuing, you know? And he literally says this dialogue like, okay, you don't understand. It's like, we are the future. We're the power. We're going to occupy positions in like total fucking cartoon villain, Mighty Mouse villain type shit. We're going to occupy positions of power. We're going to be wealthy and all this stuff. So right in the middle of the fucking monologue, Elisa Shannon breaks in. A fucking arrow goes through, and this is after they twist the neck of the girl that ratted him out. Just like this little scrawny white guy just fucking snaps this girl's neck, and he falls down, you know. And then the next thing you know, fucking Alyssa Shannon runs in. She's like an arrow goes through the. You see an arrow go through the fuck, and they turn around. And it's Alyssa Shannon. She's like, "You fucked with the wrong sisters." And then you see all of them spread out, just like you do in the fucking poster in this thumbnail. And then they go into full Mod Squad mode, and they just start kicking everybody's ass. It like kind of like slow Matrix style fucking boom, whoosh, swim, bang. I was almost waiting for like the Batman, like, you know, little things to come up like bam, boom, swoosh, you know, that shit, you know. But so it gets worse, all right. Throughout the movie, they're kind of butting heads, Imogen Poots and Alyssa Shannon, because Imogen Poots kind of doesn't want to be like all like political and shit and have everything be a statement or a protest. And then at this point, she turns around, she's like, "I'm sorry I ever doubted you." And then she goes over to this big fucking marble statue, picks it up with her bare hands, throws it on the fucking floor, the liquid pours out, and all these guys start fucking dying. And then Alyssa Shannon sets the fucking building on fire. And that's the fucking movie. I cannot believe how bad this movie was. I was laughing by the end of it. I was laughing out loud.
Alrighty then.
I was just offended. You know, this kind of stuff, I don't know who it's supposed to entertain. I don't agree that you're doing anything progressive by making somebody else seem so weak, evil, and incompetent to make your other side seem morally superior. At one point, the girls, in their best attempt of this movie to try to be, you know, to have any kind of tension whatsoever, they're hiding in a closet, and one of the girls looks over at the other one and says, "We're all just ants. We're all just ants." I'm like,
Bitch, are you for real?
we're just ants? Who fucking... This is the worst writing I've ever seen. It is so... Man, wow. So... I just remembered that these two guys that were walking out of the movie theater, they were talking to each other, and I love to be in the back of the theater because I wait for audience reactions. I mean, there's probably 4 people in the theater. It was dead silent, you know, and these two guys are like, "Well, you know, if it wasn't going to have anything to do with the other movies, it shouldn't have called itself Black Christmas." These poor guys showed up to see a horror movie. They didn't realize they were going to have to sit through a feminist lecture. Wow. You know, sometimes these movies, we should get medals for sitting through these. You know, Pete had to sit through Charlie's Angels. I sat through Terminator Dark Fate. This one is definitely the worst movie I've seen so far this year. I don't think, I hope nothing is worse than this. I don't. I realize that there's a couple weeks left of the year, but, oh, pray for me. So yeah, that's Black Christmas. And the kind of funny thing is I wanted to walk out on this movie so many times. This movie felt like it was 4 hours long. I was just so, I was offended. First I was angry, then I was offended, then I wanted to walk out, and then I just kept staying out of just like morbid curiosity just to see if it could get any worse. And it did. It just progressively got worse and worse and worse to the point to where I started to laugh. It's just how over the top this was. You know what I mean? It's like girl power, the movie, man bad. That's all this is. It's not even really a horror movie. There's no plot for like an hour of this movie. It's just dialogue. It just shows these girls in different scenes talking to each other about how they're held down by the patriarchy. The whole movie, like every minute of this movie is just dedicated to that. So everybody that was offended by Ghostbusters 2016, that was nothing. That movie did not offend me at all. I just mostly found that movie to be an unfunny comedy. This movie is just like intensely woke and propaganda and fucking just like men are just these evil, incompetent boobs. You know, I don't agree with this kind of logic and mentality in a movie. I don't think that anybody should waste their time going out and seeing this. Of course, by the time you see this, I will have already reviewed it live on my episode. I just felt like I had to dedicate a whole separate video to talk about how bad this movie is. Now, I haven't seen Star Wars, and I don't plan to go see it, so there is the possibility that more bad movies might come out this year, but this is by far one of the worst ones I have seen. It's going to wind up on a list, and it might be the worst thing that come out this year. But anyways, wow, stay away from this movie. Make sure you tell everybody how bad it is. Stuff like this does not need to be made. And this movie is an embarrassment to everybody that was involved with it. And I hope that every single member of this movie gets a lump of coal for Christmas. This is the Groovinator signing out. You guys have yourselves a groovy day. Peace. What's up, YouTube? It's Groovinator from RaidersOfLostFlicks.com. Please subscribe to my channel. Every time you don't subscribe to my channel, God kills a kitten. And the internet loves kittens. So quit killing kittens. Subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Just push the button. Subscribe. Do it. Do it now.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you are entertained. Like, share, and subscribe. And visit us again.